After my car crash put me in the hospital, my family group chat exploded with photos from my sister's luxury retreat. No one visited. Days later, still in my hospital gown, I checked my phone. 64 missed calls and a text from my dad. "Call us immediately. It's urgent." I did. And then, it's odd how your life can slip away in utter silence. No shouts, no skidding wheels, just the crunch of glass and airbags slamming into my face. One moment I was debating dinner, grilled steak or fast food burgers. The next I was dangling upside down in my car, strapped in like a marionette, staring through a broken windshield at a yield sign I never saw coming. Someone pried open the door, asking if I could hear them. I nodded. Blood trickled into my eye from a cut near my forehead, and I tasted copper in my throat. The rest is a haze, sirens, pain meds, the sting of antiseptic. It all merged into one long, dull fog of time. When I fully came to, I was in a hospital room reeking of bleach and stale air. A nurse said I had a dislocated arm, 3 cracked ribs, and a minor concussion. Minor. That's what they called it. I couldn't even sit up without help, but sure, minor. They said I was fortunate. I didn't feel fortunate. I felt abandoned. After they moved me from the ER to a regular room, I kept expecting my phone to buzz. Someone had to know, right? Families talk fast. Maybe Dad got a call. Maybe Lisa heard something. Surely Mom would check in. I was wrong. My phone sat on the hospital tray for 2 days. Silent, not a single notification. I didn't touch it until late on the second night. When I finally opened it, there were 27 unread messages, not from friends or colleagues, but from the family group chat. For a fleeting moment, I thought they knew, that they cared. Then the first photo hit like a slap. Lisa in a plush robe, holding a wine glass and flashing a victory sign. Caption, "Retreat vibes." Next, her in a hot tub. Then another, fancy tapas, her nails freshly done, her feet in lavender petals, her grinning under a cucumber mask, each image more clueless than the last. Mom commented on nearly everyone. "So adorable. You earned this. Love you, darling." Dad tossed in a few heart emojis. Not one message asking where I was. No mention of the car, the crash, or me. I stared at the screen, wondering if I was losing my mind. Had I told them about the accident? No, I hadn't. I was out cold when they brought me in. The nurse asked if I wanted to notify anyone. I said no. Deep down, I think I wanted to see if they'd reach out unprompted. They didn't. 3 days passed. The only visitors were nurses and a physical therapist who looked barely out of high school. He kept urging me to breathe deeply to keep my ribs from locking up. I followed his advice, but every breath felt like a knife twisting in my chest. I lay there in that rough hospital gown, bruised and alone, thinking of all the times I'd bailed them out. Late-night calls from Lisa needing cash, Mom's utility bills I quietly covered, Dad's car repair I paid for last winter when he said funds were low, every favor, every just this once. I never hesitated. I was the reliable one, the problem solver. And now, nothing. By day 4, I was discharged, but told not to drive or work for at least a week. I sat in the hospital lobby for nearly an hour waiting for a rideshare because no one offered to pick me up. I didn't even ask. I went home, still in the hospital gown under a jacket, because I couldn't lift my arm to change. I slept most of that day. The next morning, I turned my phone's ringer back on. 64 missed calls, all from the past 48 hours. Mostly Dad, a few from Lisa, one from Mom. No voicemails, just a text at the top from Dad. "Call us immediately, it's urgent." I called right away. The line didn't ring once before he answered. His voice was tense, panic lurking beneath, but he wasn't shouting. Not yet. What he said didn't click at first, something about lost paperwork, an account being locked. I didn't interrupt. I let him ramble. As I listened, sprawled in my apartment, still in that scratchy gown, it hit me. For the first time in years, they needed me more than I needed them, and I was done being their fool. When I called Dad back, I was still slumped in the same chair I'd collapsed into after getting home from the hospital, still in the gown, a jacket thrown over it because the fabric scraped my ribs raw. The phone didn't even ring. He picked up like he'd been clutching it, pacing. His voice wasn't angry but shaken, which was rare for him. He said they'd been trying to reach me for 2 days. I didn't respond to that. He started explaining, or maybe just venting, something about Lisa's rent payment failing, her card declining at a diner, her bank account frozen. At first I thought she'd been hacked, but then he mentioned it. Her backup card tied to my account was locked too. He kept going. Mom tried paying bills, but the transfer bounced. Her credit card, a secondary on my account, failed mid-purchase. She thought it was a glitch until the bank flagged suspicious activity. Then her phone bill auto-pay failed. That's when they panicked. They thought I'd been hacked or the bank was glitching. It never crossed their minds that I'd done it. Dad asked, almost warily, if I knew what was happening. I stayed silent for a moment, letting it sink in. Then calmly, I said I'd frozen everything, canceled the secondary cards, locked the backup account Lisa used, blocked all transfers, everything. He sounded stunned, like I'd smashed a vase in their dining room. He asked why. So I told him. I told him about the crash 4 days ago, car flipped, cracked ribs, dislocated arm, concussion. 3 nights in the hospital, discharged alone because no one in the family noticed I was gone. And the real kicker? The retreat photos. The group chat buzzing with wine glasses, tapas, and hot tubs while I was hooked to an IV. I told him I saw it all. Not one of them, not Mom, not Lisa, not him, asked where I was or why I hadn't replied. I didn't want a grand gesture, just a shred of care. He tried to recover, saying they didn't know, that they'd have come if they had. I asked why they didn't wonder why I went silent, why no one checked in. I said flat out, they didn't notice because they didn't care. He shifted to defense mode. Lisa's been overwhelmed, he said. Mom's had her own worries. The retreat was to help Lisa's stress. He even suggested I should have reached out. That was it. I told him I was done always being the one to reach out, done being the family's ATM. I'd covered Lisa's rent 5 times in 2 years, cleared Mom's overdue bills, paid a hospital bill for Dad he never acknowledged. And when I needed something, not cash, not favors, just basic concern, they didn't notice I was missing. He asked if I was really turning my back on family over this. I said no. I already had, quietly, in that hospital bed, scrolling through retreat photos, realizing I could have died, and they wouldn't know until their cards stopped working at lunch. Then I hung up. That night, I opened my laptop and reviewed every account tied to them, the ones they forgot I'd set up, the temporary help that never switched back to their names. I made a list, line by line, phone bills, streaming services, rent payments, credit cards, Lisa's car loan, even her yoga studio membership, all linked to my accounts. I shut them down, froze the cards, canceled auto-pays, changed passwords, sent requests to remove my name from shared accounts. I wasn't angry, just systematic. I wanted every connection severed, every channel closed. I didn't tell them. I waited. The first text came the next morning. Lisa, all caps, asking why her card failed. Then another. Then a call. Mom texted saying her account was locked, asking if I could call the bank like before. Dad texted, asking if I was upset and if we could talk. I ignored them all. This wasn't revenge. It was reality hitting them, and I wasn't stopping it. By week's end, they were unraveling. Lisa called 7 times in one day, leaving voice messages, first confused, then irritated, then sobbing. Real or not, I couldn't tell anymore. She said she was humiliated when her card was declined at her favorite bistro in front of friends. Her rideshare account stopped working. Rent was late, and her landlord threatened fees. The retreat charged her a cancellation fee she couldn't pay. I listened to every message, didn't reply. Mom texted next, confused about her weird bank, asking me to fix it, No apology, no mention of the crash, just straight to the issue, like I was her tech support. I didn't answer. Her next 3 messages went from polite to sharp. Dad tried to sound reasonable, calling Saturday morning, leaving a voicemail. He understood I was hurt, but freezing everything was excessive. Lisa's just careless sometimes. Mom was distracted. He said it wasn't fair to cut them off without warning. That's when I realized they didn't see this as me reclaiming my resources. They saw it as betrayal. That told me everything. Lisa showed up at my apartment buzzing the intercom 3 times. I didn't answer. She texted from the lobby saying she just wanted to talk. I ignored it. 10 minutes later, I saw her car peel out through the window. She wanted access, not resolution. The following Monday, the bank called. Lisa tried a transaction with old joint card info I'd already deactivated. They flagged it, asked if I wanted to report fraud. I didn't, just told them to keep the freeze and monitor further attempts. Things went quiet for a few days. Too quiet. Then a group message from Mom. Can we be adults and sort this out? No mention of their actions, the hospital, or my years of support. Just a polished guilt trip. I didn't reply. 2 hours later, Dad called. I answered. He was cautious, like he was treading on thin ice, saying they were all struggling. Lisa was stressed, Mom was distracted. He called me the family's rock, saying they needed me to step up again. That word, needed. I asked one question. When did any of you last do something for me? Long pause. Then, that's not how family works. Exactly. That's when I knew this wasn't temporary. It was permanent. They'd mistaken my generosity for duty, my silence for permission. Blood didn't mean ownership anymore. I didn't yell or threaten, just said, the support's done. I'll handle my life. You handle yours. He tried to argue, but I hung up before he could finish. Not anger, clarity. I could already see their world crumbling. 3 days after I cut everything off, Lisa's phone service was disconnected. I didn't know at first. What tipped me off was her Instagram going silent. She used to post constantly. I checked out of curiosity. Her page was still up, but all posts and her profile picture were gone. An hour later, the account was deleted entirely. That was my first real sign her perfect retreat-glossed life was fracturing. Mom kept pretending, posting in the group chat like nothing happened. Recipes, random song links, a selfie with a fall wreath, captioned, "Cozy Season." No one replied, not even Dad. Then a letter arrived at my apartment. Not an email or text, but an actual handwritten letter in Mom's neat script, in a thick envelope. Inside, a 3-page note about tension and wanting to be a family again. She said she was proud of me, the steady one, that she and Lisa were struggling and needed a short-term loan until Lisa's situation was resolved. No mention of the crash, no apology, just a pitch. Attached were documents, a screenshot of Lisa's overdrawn bank account, negative $432.19, a credit card statement with $2,800 in boutique purchases, car payments, and a retreat membership she hadn't canceled, and a typed loan contract with interest terms, a payment schedule, and spaces for me and Lisa to sign, plus a witness line, a legal shield for strangers sent to me, the guy who paid her rent 6 times without a word. I sat with that letter, not just insulted but unsettled. They'd lost touch with reality. That night, a knock came at 9:30 p.m. Not the buzzer, a direct knock. I checked the peephole. It was Mark, Lisa's ex, unseen since their breakup 2 years ago. He looked uneasy, like he regretted coming. He said Lisa gave him my address, claiming I was unraveling and needed help. She'd asked him to stay with her. He refused. Then he dropped a bombshell. Lisa was crashing on Mom's couch, and they were telling people I'd had a breakdown, cutting them off over a minor family spat. I told him everything: the crash, hospital, their silence, the money trail, the shutdown. He listened. No defenses, no excuses. When he left, I thought that was it. But the next morning, he sent a screenshot of Mom's Facebook post. "Please pray for our family. Some lash out when hurting. We're staying strong in tough times." Comments poured in. "Sending love. You're such a strong mom." That's when it hit me. They weren't just dodging the truth, they were rewriting it, painting me as unstable, the villain. They couldn't touch my wallet, so they targeted my reputation. I didn't get angry, I got prepared. I opened the folder I'd started post-accident and added more. Screenshots of the group chat during my hospital stay, missed calls, the letter, the loan contract, retreat charges, the Facebook post. I sent them to Dad. No message, just facts. Hours later, he called. I didn't pick up. He texted. I didn't realize. I get it now. I'm sorry. No defense, no excuses. That's when I knew their house of cards was collapsing. I'd just given it a final nudge. After Dad's text, he went silent. No follow-up, no calls, no guilt trips. Just those words. I didn't realize. I get it now. I'm sorry. I didn't reply. I wanted to believe it meant something, that someone finally saw what I'd been carrying. But I'd seen too many empty promises, too many pleas that led back to needing me. What I didn't expect came next. 2 days later, an email from Lisa's landlord hit my inbox. I was still her emergency contact. It was blunt. Unpaid rent, no response, eviction notice pending. She'd missed the last payment, with fees piling up. They'd tried contacting her. No answer. 5 days until filing. I thought of all the times I'd sent money to that office, quietly, automatically, often without thanks. Once Lisa texted, "Rent done, tie," and ghosted me for a month. Now she was out of options. That night, Mark texted again. He'd gone to Mom's to grab old stuff Lisa kept. She looked wrecked, eyes swollen, pacing, sleepless. She tried getting him to talk to me again, saying she couldn't believe I'd done this to her. He didn't buy it. Then he said Mom and Lisa had a blowout fight. Lisa blamed Mom for not fixing things. Mom snapped she wasn't a bank. It got ugly. Neighbors called the cops ugly. Lisa took Mom's car without permission the next day, leaving her stranded. That was the first real fracture, Lisa turning on her last offender. Their whole dynamic relied on me carrying the load, and without me, it wasn't just about money. It was their identity crumbling. I thought that was the end, but the real end came 3 days later. An envelope was shoved under my door. No stamp, no name, just a folded paper inside. It was a printed screenshot of a bank transfer attempt. $900 from an old savings account I hadn't used in over a year, one Lisa somehow remembered. The transfer failed. I'd locked the account days earlier, but she'd tried, quietly, digging for scraps. That was it. No more gray area, no hope for reconciliation. The next morning I went to the police, not to press full charges, but to file a fraud alert and document the attempt, just in case. The bank flagged her name, IP, and device. If she tried again, it'd be automatic. I didn't tell her or anyone. I let it sit like a trap waiting to spring. Then I blocked them all, phone, email, socials, group chat. I locked down accounts they didn't even know about, sealing every entry. The fallout unfolded on its own. Lisa lost her apartment. Mom's utilities were cut for non-payment. Their social circle shrank as drama wore people out. Dad stayed silent. He finally saw the cost of their silence. I didn't gloat or smirk. I just lived, quietly, peacefully. It's been 2 months since I cut them off. No calls, no texts, no letters, just silence, the kind I used to yearn for in their chaos. Lisa never apologized, not for the fraud attempt, the lies, or ignoring the hospital. Last I heard, she's crashing with a college friend in a cramped downtown flat, car gone, apartment gone. Most of her fun friends vanished when she couldn't pay her way. Mom's still pretending, per my cousin's screenshots of another group post about healing broken bonds and forgiving pain. Forgiving what? Me saying no? She never grasped it wasn't about money. It was about being invisible. I was their fix, their fallback, their silent donor, but never a person, never someone who could break. And I did break, quietly, in a hospital bed with no visitors and 27 unread retreat photos. Dad's silence surprised me most. I expected him to try rebuilding, even just to ease his conscience. But I think he understood my lack of response to his last text was final, not a threat, but a conclusion. I moved last week. New apartment, new bank, new number, no forwarding address. I didn't even tell the cousin who stayed neutral. Not out of fear, but because I'm done leaving doors ajar. The old Michael would have kept a crack open, just in case. The new one doesn't. I keep the screenshots, the letter, Lisa's sobbing voicemail about how could you do this, the Venmo attempt, not for revenge, but to remember. Because no one tells you that cutting off family isn't always a triumphant stand. It feels like mourning something you wished existed. But each day, that grief fades. Each day, my silent phone feels safer. They thought I'd always be there, that they could torch the bridge and I'd rebuild it. They learned what happens when the bridge builder walks away with every beam. And I learned family isn't who shares your blood. It's who shows up when your world cracks, not theirs. No one, not even family, has a forever claim on your kindness if they treat it like a paycheck. This wasn't revenge. It was survival. And for the first time, I'm truly living.